Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while, but I felt like it was time to do a live episode. What's up, everybody? I am Apollo the G, the Philly Special. I want to thank anybody who tunes in or catches this later. Uh, Appreciate you guys for listening. I ask that you like, comment, and share, uh, and follow. This is a journey trying to find out what in the world's going on. What the hell's going on out there? But all right. Anyway, yeah. So since last time, it snowed in Georgia. It has been ice all over the South, um, and weather's getting crazy. It is for a person such as myself who doesn't claim to be religious. I begin to think: is there something else out there? Is there something explaining what's going on? I'd say if there were a supreme being, a god, if you will, who was as vengeful and judgmental as you say, I think he'd be really mad about what's going on right now. Maybe that's just me. I think I'm having some technical difficulties. If I am, I apologize, but seems like everything's going right. But anyway, as I said, if there were a God up there right now, I believe that he would be upset with what's going on. I don't think he'd like it very much. Uh, I believe that everything is against his teachings, to be completely honest. And for what people say about the Bible, it is a very complex and confusing thing. The same thing with the Quran, the same thing with the Torah. They're very confusing if you get the meanings and objectives misconstrued, which is totally possible in today's day and age, with people meaningfully misconstruing it. But with that said, there are some base facts and things said in there that is like, if you are a Christian, you follow Jesus, you're supposed to try to be like Jesus, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the goal, to be Jesus like. And from what Jesus said, if you look at what all of these Christians, Catholics, and maggots all have to say is like, what they think is completely what they think is right is completely the opposite of what is being taught in the Bible as the words of Jesus and Jesus's followers. And that's where I have the gap with what's going on. But long story short, what I'm saying is that if it were true for what they say they believe, then God would be very upset right now, and He would show it. He would show it publicly and catastrophically in some cases. So let's not even talk about ever since the election of Trump, the storms that happened while the election was going on along the East Coast and after with South Carolina and Florida. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida altogether have been decimated by storms, flooding. Texas had that where the mountain, like where they got more rainfall than they ever expected because he defunded NOAA and they had no way to know that the storm was going to be that big, and all those kids and all those people died in that valley. The fires in California. As the election was going on, and then the fact of him getting in and then not helping these people sufficiently with FEMA, in fact, getting rid of FEMA efficiently, it's wild. It's really wild. But when you look at what's going on in the world right now, it looks like there's some kind of vengeance going on from an angry God. You know, I can't put it any other way. Now, this is labeled as, you know, this is about, the theme of this is what happened on Sunday night. Now, I came in hot, so let me go ahead and get in come in with something good and give the respect to the young man Shakur, because he did the thing the other night against Teofimo Lopez. Man with the $1 million smile and a mile wide gap. But that boy got hands. And, like, I think that not only to say what he did was great, was a great win, but as someone who's watched Shakur for years, that was his best performance, hands down, period. And he was stepping up in weight where everybody thought he was gonna lose something. That man looked good. That man looked better than he has ever looked before, and he stepped up on the big scale, and made it happen. But with that being said, even more importantly about this fight is that Teofimo Lopez, man, is a fucking joke for real. Like, he's a racist. He is. Hold on. He's a racist. He's made multiple racial comments, specifically towards, I think it's Keyshawn Davis in Virginia, but made flippant remarks about slavery. I'm not going to go into what he said and done. You can look it up, find it out. It's easily Googleable. So, and a lot of people kind of always said Shakur really didn't have it. And I you know, I want to look at this. I want people to look at this fight because Shakur, he did put some pounds on. You saw the weight difference, and you also saw he had a lot more stopping power than I've ever seen him have. He beat the dog shit out of Teofimo Lopez, and rightfully so. So now I believe they're saying that he's going to retire, which is good riddance. Go kick rocks. Which is great because it proves a point. Like, this is the karma of the racist. Your day is coming. I'm not going to say when it is. I don't know when it may be, but it is coming. And that's the theme of this episode. The theme of this episode is karma always comes around. Regardless of what you believe is in your idea of a higher power or God, whether you're atheist, whatever you are, karma's real. Karma has a long history. It is proven. It is scientific. It's as scientific as scientific can be because it's always going to come around. And that's the good. That's one of the good things about life. Because really in life, what do we have but Schadenfreude? You know, like we have pleasure when someone who gets their just desserts gets their just desserts. That's really what we are. We're a sipping tea uh, community. This is why the internet is so addictive and uh, engulfing and controlling to our society. And it took over quick. I want people to remember that when I was a child, there was no such thing as none of this. There was no such thing as cellular phones. I mean, like they were, but they were like a lightsaber. Like you would see that on a movie, but no one has one of those. That's impossible. Who can have that? But yeah, so today's episode is all about the karma and the possible Jesus that might be up there watching over us and like, kicking fire out our asses right now, which is what we fully deserve because we have made mistake upon mistake upon mistake upon mistake. How could you follow a book that was written in before Christ? I mean, like centuries ago and eons ago. You can't understand it. It's pretty basic. It's love your fellow neighbor. Make sure your neighbor has what they need, and you will be blessed. And whether you're religious or not, that's true. If my neighbor don't need to steal, I don't got to worry about nobody stealing. If my neighbor doesn't need to harm somebody, then I don't have to worry about him hurting me. If someone harms my neighbor and I help them get justice for the harm that was done to them, then once again they are endeared to me rather than an adversary. So right now the karma is real. The karma is real on a level that is like it's delicious. It's thick. It's whipped to fine perfection. Right? And we're going to start off. We're going to start off with these guys. The three. I say three blind racists because they were blind to the reality that was going to smack them in their face after they made a hard right turn to, for some reason, hate the people that made the sport that they were a part of great. And the best part about this sport is that the comeuppance is so great when you see someone who has such a big mouth get punched in it, right? So here's the first one. We all know who it is. So Speedy Garcia. Speedy got punched in his face by a tank. And then got punched in the gut and made to kneel before that tank. And agree that I will want no more of this. Right? This man's a racist. This man who every big fight he has that is like a headliner, a real fucking memorable fight, is against a black man. Every accolade he's chasing in this sport is a black man. And black men had to fight from the bottom to the top of this sport. And you still in this, how could you have trained and learned in this sport so long and have no respect for black people? That's crazy. Not one. Not one. New rule. Let me tell you this, Spanish people and the cool white bull, it is not cool if you say nigga no more. It just ain't. You could say it, of course. It's a free country. But what goes on in my mind is it lets me know about you, right? Because I don't know, maybe I'm the only black person that saw this with the voting, with the way the voting went and the way that people got on social media with their back clap talking. I can't trust everybody no more. You got to prove to me that you're not racist now. If I mean, even black people. I mean, for real. Let's keep it 100. People have been lying for so long. They're making like they made a whole switch to racist within like a couple of years. No, y'all been that way. Y'all been lying, trying to get take advantage of whatever friendships or anything. What you do is you drain people. You want to take whatever you can. You're swagger jackers, all of you. So I really can't trust people nowadays. So it's going to be really hard for y'all to fight back into the good graces. Y'all, and if you don't want to be in the good graces, that's fine. You don't have to be. But don't force me to be all buddy-buddy with you because I can't trust you. Now, it's not just him. Let's not forget this guy. Oh, and that was good. That was good. That was so good. I don't think that Joshua broke his jaw with just his fist. I think he punched with 1,000 black men behind him. Because Joshua didn't even really go in on Jake Paul. Jake Paul was running from the beginning of that fight because he was terrified that he had finally talked his way in to the ass whooping he deserves. Now, if everyone remembers, that wasn't supposed to be against Anthony Joshua. It was supposed to be against Tiny Tank, which I still think Tank could have done the same thing. I'm going to keep it 100%. But because we saw what Mayweather did to Jake's big brother, who outweighed Floyd by 50 pounds. So he was going to fight a little small guy and do his little routine and play around with him, and it didn't go through because Tank was not going to take no dive. He was not going to play with him. He was going to eat all of his food, and which is why I also believe they set him up to get locked up for a case from a while ago. They set him up for that. But anyway, Anthony Joshua got in there and he thought that he was going to be able to play around with a heavyweight, and that heavyweight knocked him the fuck out. That heavyweight did the fucking job. And as far as I'm concerned, Anthony Joshua was a national hero, and I thank him for it. That was absolutely beautiful. Another look at it. But we also have this guy. We've covered this on the show before. We also have that. This guy getting knocked out. The super masculine male. Right? The super masculine male. Andrew Tate. The alpha was knocked out on national TV in his own boxing federation by a less than professional fighter wearing pink gloves. Tell me that's not irony, though. Is that not absolutely lovely to see that? The symbolism of that is absolutely poetic. And I don't have the picture here, but throughout the matches, both of them were literally on their knees, hugging these men's legs to like, please stop beating me. There was one time where Joshua, where he fell to his knees, and then Joshua just like body beat the hell out of him like your older brother would. Oh my God, it was mentally orgasmic. It was so fulfilling to see all of these things happen. Right? And then after all of that, somebody else makes a appearance, right? Somebody else makes a double appearance. Boop. This guy. Rolly Romero is not a good fighter. I do not really care for Romero, but thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Because Garcia's a bum. He's an absolute bum. And once again, you check online, he said him and Teofimo are the same cloth as far as I'm concerned, but he said a bunch of racist stuff, had a bunch of M-bombs to drop, and no, karma comes back, brother. Karma comes back. Let's talk about another bit of karma, right? Remember this? For that? Mar-a-Lago. Showing off.
Donald Trump 2024.
Oh, yeah? Was that it? Got him elected, did you? Got him elected, did you? Did Did you think that he was going to take Awela and all the other homies, essays? Did you think he was going to take all of them and kick them out like he kicking them out? The best part about that is that you're going to be the face of that, like you were the face of it right there. And then why do Latinos steal black swag so much? Y'all steal everything from us. And then going back and call us mayetes or whatever the hell y'all call us. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Once again, thinking that offends us, that doesn't hurt us. It just what hurts us is that you are that low of a caliber of person. And that you're so stupid and you think that these people that you in here dancing for weren't going to ship you out as soon as possible. Ryan Garcia got one more fight to lose, bro. And as far as I'm concerned, Mario Barros is going to do it. And I hope he just beats him in nice, disastrous fashion. See, Barros could take Tank's punches. He can take your punch. Okay? He can definitely take your punch. So, the irony of him turning on his own people and hating black people is great. But I got another video coming up on him sometime. Either I don't know when I'm going to do it. I'll do it. But, yeah, it's a good one. So, yeah, 3 blind racists, blind to the karma that was coming back around to slap the shit out of them. And now Andrew Tate, who's also seen, involved with this fiasco. Let me see if I have it here. Sure that I do. Yes. Andrew Tate and his brother. Seen with this fiasco. Remember there, Tristan behind Myron Gaines throwing the Hail Hitler salute with clavicular, and there was also Sneeko to the right here and Andrew Tate to the right here, all jamming to Kanye West's song. So there is a lot of karma that's coming back around to them, and now Andrew Tate is losing his everything. He, especially after the fight, I mean, he's a clown. And anybody who looked up to him so wholeheartedly throughout this period of this red pilling, you look like a fool. You look like an idiot. How do you feel? Was it worth it? And then it happened in front of the nation. It happened in front of the nation. Sorry, mom's called. Had to talk to moms. But yeah, so it's really hilarious now that you've seen this. We're going to start seeing, and then you start looking at the swing from Republicans to Democrats. It's like people are so like superficial and like live right in the now. Like it's crazy. Because let me say this: like all the people who are now seeing this right collapse. And now you're coming over to the left. I don't fuck with you. See, you were fine with it until it started making you look stupid. You were fine with all the hurt that it did, but now that it makes you look stupid, you want to get away from it and act like you never supported it. But see, you idiots just couldn't help yourself but get online and troll. So everyone knows what you are now, and everyone's going to put that out there. All you ICE agents, you think you're going to go back to a regular life? My asshole. You will never get a regular life. If I have it my way, the people that we elect from here on out are going to make sure to persecute you people like Nazis. That's what I say. Perfect example is to make of you clowns. Oh yes, and however far they're willing to go, whether it's exile or execution, we'll talk about it then. But that's what that is. But these guys are the beginning. They are the first wave. Jake Paul, Andrew Tate, and Ryan Garcia. And the reason why they were so famous is because they were in a black-dominated sport. And the white people saw this as their takeover. Racist white people, I'm sorry, saw this as their takeover, and the proof that they were the dominant race. One called for steroids. The other basically fixing his fights, never fighting a real competitor. And then the other one just talked shit until reality came. He talked shit till he believed it, and then his reality came and boop, right in the face. Reminding everyone that Andrew Tate had 100 wins. Okay, he had 100 wins in a period where Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya also had 100 wins, and they fought the top competition and never fought Andrew Tate. How does that work? It wasn't a federation issue because federations cross belts all the time and have cross federation events. So, no. Because Pereira and Izzy fought each other. How did they just miss Tate? 100 wins. Fuck out of here, man. Everybody thinks you're an idiot. They have to. So, we move on. We move on. To Sweet Karma. Sweet Karma is this. There are some hateful people who helped in this election of this new regime that we have in power in our country right now, who ushered in Project 2025, both willingly and unwittingly. But once again, karma knows no bounds. Karma always catches up with you at the right time, and that's any time. Dennis Prager. Oh, my God. Not only do I hate Dennis Prager because of the things he says and what he represents, but Dennis Prager presents a specific problem where he is insidious in his plot. He knows that if you, and they talk about grooming on the right a lot. That's because their whole thing is about grooming. The idea of them pushing their children into religion so young and forcing it upon them is to groom them into believing that whatever the people in power or the people who are high up in your religion or your elders say is real and is faith-based, when it's not. Even when you can see it clearly it's not, you're so brainwashed that you can't, really see it. So he knows that you have to go to the children in order to change the mental perception. And he does it in an insidious way. He knew to do it through education, not to do it through religion. Because if you can get your indoctrination going into the schools, you immediately have control. And you have a control that is so wide-stretched that it's almost impossible to combat it once it's in. And this is what they're doing now. They teach PragerU videos to children that teach that the African slaves were lucky to be taken as slaves because they became Americans, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. They tell lies about Christopher Columbus, and here's my thing. If you don't want to tell the truth about a complete subject, just don't teach it then. If you don't want to say that Christopher Columbus was a pedophile and a fucking rapist and a pimp, and that the things that he did in these Americas was absolutely disgusting as a human being, and he was made into a legend for it. If you don't want to say that, then don't talk about Christopher Columbus. And this is why throughout my youth I got in a lot of trouble, because if someone would say something about Martin Luther King, I'd say, he also was a womanizer. He was a man of God, but he was also a womanizer. Everyone would get mad at me. I see why they got mad at me, but it was only revealing the truth. It was only revealing the truth. It's the same thing that happened to Malcolm. Malcolm left the Elijah Muhammad because he saw the brother was molesting girls. And I don't care what God we believe in, I ain't down with that. And as soon as he did that, he left on his own, and so many people went against him just because they were willing to look past what was being done by their elders. Anyway, you get engulfed in religion and you indoctrinate children, and this is how we can ruin the future. This is how we ruin the future, because we have a whole bunch of crazy children that are waiting for the apocalypse to come, and they think that they are somehow tools or God's hands of creating it. So we have a real problem on our hands. But Dennis Prager was one of the people who helped create that problem, right? And he said things like with the videos I'm about to show you.
Over and over, diversity is a strength. Diversity is our strength. That is not true. Diversity is a challenge. It's not a strength if you don't deal with it correctly. The more diverse your population, the more you have to, in this case, Americanize them.
Now, what I just explained to you was exactly this, what he's telling you right now, that you're not okay to be, different or diverse. You have to be who they say you have to be. And what they want is, they don't want religious diversity, which is crazy, because that is the lie they told us for years while we were children was that this land was formed on religious freedom. They are completely against religious freedom now. That is absurd to them. They think it's their idea, their right to make everybody be Christian, at least on the surface, while they have to see you. Anything they see you doing that's what they think to be Christian, and that includes being a minority. A lot of these Christians believe that by anybody who's not white, they aren't really Christian. White people have owned Christianity. How is that when Christianity is based on all brown people? This is the funny fallacy of your whole existence and your whole idea of white supremacy. You still choose to worship brown people at all times because you have no basis and no real stance that you've ever taken in your whole history as people. Every revolt you've ever had is about money. You got raped until you had nothing, until you were so poor that you were starving, and then you revolt. You let it happen to the brown people, you let it happen to the other religions, and you don't care until it hurts you, the base white person. This is the history of the world. Y'all say you don't like it, you can leave. How come y'all everywhere? You go down to South Africa, it's white people. You go to fucking Nigeria, it's white people. Why are y'all everywhere with your filthy little fingers in everybody's shit and then telling everybody to go home if they don't like it? You can't keep telling everybody to go home if you don't like it without thinking you're going to get punched in the mouth a few times. And when you get punched in the mouth, then you fucking turn into the victim immediately. You was just the bully. That's why the karma is so sweet. I don't take delight in people's pain, but I delight in racist demise. The more public, the better. And that's just how it is. So, that guy who just said, we don't need diversity. Diversity is not a strength. How is diversity not a strength? Once again, this is a biblical teaching that we are all important and all key to the human race, to the brotherhood. Every religion teaches that. So why would he say it's not diverse? And then turn around, and the two-facedness of what they do, here is the flip side.
Race matters, and we need to say so.
E pluribus unum, from many, one. This country is the least racist, multi-ethnic, multi-racial country in the history of the world. The reason is we don't give a damn. That's the beauty of it. We don't give a damn. That's the American. You're black, who cares? You're Hispanic, who cares? You're Asian, who cares? That's the American response.
Let me correct him. That's the American response when you are black, Asian, or Indian, or et cetera. But when you are white, this whole campaign of MAGA is run on white people not getting what they deserve, and white people being devalued, white people not having enough children, becoming outnumbered, becoming outvoted, the Great Replacement theory. What they say completely goes against what they push and what they actually do. You said you don't want immigration. Okay, how come we just went and got a bunch of South Africans then? How come when you see these raids going on TV, they're never going on in those Russian neighborhoods in Philadelphia where there are a bunch of illegal aliens? It's never going on in the Ukrainian neighborhoods or the Polish neighborhoods. Why? And they don't show the Asian ones either. Even though it is happening to Asians, but they don't show that because that's not the picture they're trying to push. They want people to see brown people getting manhandled, and then the white people protecting those brown people, a.k.a. nigga lovers, are getting brutalized. And that's what they want. It's all about the picture and the aspect. Now, here is the sweet karma, right? As promised, this is Dennis Prager now. That's what it looks like with your foot in your mouth. He's paralyzed completely. People will say, oh, no, he was sick. I don't even know what happened to him, or an accident, whatever. I don't know or care what happened to this man or what he's dealing with. I don't care about. But what I do care about is the fact that it is a direct correlation to all of the evil that him and his party have done. And it came around swift. And he still talks the same bullshit he's talking. I believe he said he was going to change over to Christianity, something like that, because he is a Jew. But, yeah, to hell with this one, metaphorically and hopefully literally. I don't feel bad. The karma comes around. And there's also types of other karma. There's also types of other karma that is not as violent as that, but it is still as sweet. Everybody remembers this guy, Russell Brand, who made a hard turn to the right after being one of the most androgynous and edgy people in the world. Made a hard turn to the right, accepted Jesus online, was baptized online, and would wax poetic with the likes of Jordan Peterson, that genius. And then became a star on Rumble, that cesspool of mediocrity. And lo and behold, the man's been raping underage girls and treating women like literal animals because of his stature and who he was. Look up the stuff that he actually did, and no, he didn't deny any of it. Listen to the stuff that he did, but his apology is, oh, I'm a different man. I accepted Christ. See, that's what y'all do. Y'all try to think that you were going to somehow become religious and get away with it. You can't. You can't. It always comes back around. With the invention of the internet and social media, it is always going to come back around. It does every single time. And it hurts every single time. That won't change. The harder in the paint you go, the harder they going to foul you. You know what I mean? So now he is on trial for all of this stuff. He's going to face charges for all of this stuff in England. And it sucks. No, it sucks because it took this long, but justice is coming, and the reputation. So now people know who he is, and he's been kicking all of this. I'm a changed man. Look, that changed man stuff. When someone got to tell you they're a changed man, you show me you're a changed man. You don't tell me you're a changed man. You know what I'm saying? And let's not also forget about this idiot. Old-fashioned idiot. She's done. And when they are done with her and she has no more effectiveness, which is very, very, very soon, her pedophile brother and her fucking rapist husband are getting either deported, jailed, or both. And she is going to be deported as well. And I would love to see these albums that you think you're going to sell to these people. You might sell it to Scott Besson. He looks like a barb. Gay guys usually like Nicki. But it's, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Put the thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I mean, for real, though. Like, what are you people expecting to get from going to the work with the devil? And I'm not saying that facetiously. Like, literally, the things they do are devilish. You are seeing this now with these files coming out. They thought they cleaned those files enough that people wouldn't mind. And then they released the stuff they just released and thought you would be okay with it. They thought you would be. They said that there was no significant evidence in there and literally had a web of all the people that connected to it and just blacked out everybody's face that you don't know. Bro, don't fool yourself. This what's going on right now? It's so right. The karma that's coming around is so right. So, all right, let's get off of that. That karma is definitely sweet, definitely sweet. But let's move on, right? Okay. Ooh, jumped the gun. To the good liars. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, billionaires. Really all billionaires, because all billionaires are liars. There's no billionaire that's worth the money that they have, and when they fool you into believing that, that's a lie. But these men literally accused each other of being connected to Epstein, and they're both connected to Epstein in the worst possible ways. Both of them literally have evidence that they're connected to him in crossing timelines of being in the same place at the same time, speaking highly of this person, contacting this person, and saying some lascivious things to this person. But everybody is worried about Bill Clinton. I do not care if Bill Clinton is guilty. If he's guilty, lock him up. I mean, do what you do. That will not take away what he did in office as like legislatively, both that crime bill and all of the economic relief we received in those years and prosperity. It won't erase any of that. But what this does prove is that the people who used that while Biden was in office to cause dissent, and they would use the idea of, oh my God, you're protecting pedophiles. You were not bringing that out, the information out, and which is a very lazy, sick argument that the right always make. And now that it's being turned around on them, they're literally telling you that they don't care. Someone who doesn't care about this, like the Democrats never said they didn't care. They just didn't believe everything around it. But if you don't care now, after you made all of that noise, wow. And then the superficial evidence, then you look at all the people that he pardons and protects, they all have sexual deviancy. All of them. And you people are still out here talking about Diddy. And they're trying to connect Jay-Z to Epstein now. They have a report that someone said Jay-Z was at a thing with Jeffrey Epstein and abused a girl. Okay. Guess what? Easily figure outable. Check the plane or records of who was where at what time. because I'm pretty sure that's why that one got eliminated. But they just threw everything in there to say, oh, it's all bullshit. People, think about it. Things you all watch CSI and Law and Order and all these fucking figure them out shows, and how can you be so naive and stupid to not see when someone is lying straight to your face? The man said, oh, just forget about it, until y'all didn't forget about it. Didn't sign the law, broke that law, because all he had to do was just give up the papers. Didn't do it. Then over-redacted them. And then didn't even redact them good enough, because once again, if you can follow a trail, you can know where these redactions lead to. If this person right here is showing up also here, and they're talking about them here, then that redacted person is obviously them. It's not fucking hard. But these people, I call them the good liars because they really think they're good at this. Like, look at their faces when they tell these bullshit lies in these press conferences. They look convinced of their own BS. Now, everybody who still sticks with Trump and Elon, guess what? You're despicable. You will do anything for money. You're basically following money. If you are a person who will follow the money, you are a prostitute. Just because you ain't giving up them cakes for the money, don't mean you wouldn't. You just haven't got to your lowest level yet, but you're still a prostitute. ICE agents, prostitutes. Even if you just did it for the money, but most of them did it for the, like the pushing people around. And I'm telling you, when it comes out later how many people they've raped, you're going to be mind blown, because that's what these people do. Even if you want to take your own little Viking history, that's what you do. You rape. You like to rape. Fucking watch Braveheart again, buddy. Whole movie was about y'all raping too much. Each other. It was literally law. That's what y'all do. Which is fine. I mean, that's your business. I'm not going to complain about your white on white crime like I'm not going to complain about black on black crime. Crime is crime. We just got to stop the crime. But don't keep pointing the fingers at everybody else when you elected a man who you knew had 34 felonies of a fraud. The man who does nothing but talk about getting rid of frauds was found fraudulently guilty 34 times at a felony level. And we're not, and you guys just think it's about him paying off the porn star. No, this man overvalued his properties for decades, which ruined the housing market in New York. This is why the New York housing market is destroyed, because those people were lying and fraudulently getting money out of banks every year for losses they were not taking. And I'm not an economic genius or a fraud lawyer. This is easy to understand. This is why fraud is illegal, because fraud ruins the assessments that they make for the coming years and the coming rates that they put on these loans. And the increase of property value. If their property is increasing $100 million, you don't think yours is, are you? Because you were saying yours only increased 10,000. You're being honest. But they're lying and ruining the market. That's why the housing market in New York is ruined. And everybody knows that. It's not a secret. And they're doing the same thing everywhere. These people lie on their taxes. And their tax cuts they get are more money than you have seen in your life or will see in your life. And you still let these guys keep lying to you. The karma is real. This is why the farmers are all going out of business. The farmers are all going under. And the rich people who funded Trump are all buying your property and turning it into server farms so you can go home and sit on your phone and listen to the lies they tell you on TikTok. They are blocking any information that's not right-wing from TikTok. They are doing the same on Twitter. Like, you're getting indoctrinated, like literally in front of your face while you're telling me you're so smart and you can't be fooled and everybody else is sheep. You are sheeping right in front of my face. And then if I tell you a truth, you go into an infantile mode where you can't even hear it. Even when you say it out your own mouth. When I talk with people and I have a discussion with people, I make them say their own stupidity out their own mouth and repeat it back to themselves. And they get mad and say, I'm tricking them. I am tricking you into listening to yourself. Everybody claims to be a good human, and they want everybody. They don't want to hurt anybody, but yet they do things to hurt people knowingly all the time. You're good liars, and you're following the pattern of the Elon Musk and the Donald Trumps. See, Bill Gates is not as bad as those guys because he is not rubbing his wealth in your face, and he does so much charity. A lot of his times when he does something, when you see him in the news, he's doing charity. Not saying that he's like, I think any billionaire is a disgusting human being and should be dragged out in the streets and beaten till the coins fall out of their pockets. And I'm serious about that. If you are a billionaire, you are a criminal. You are the reason why there are people starving and dying in the streets, children, men and women. And you don't care about it at all. You could fix it with a wave of your hand, but you choose not to. You choose to give your undeserving children all that money you raped and pillaged out of people. And then you go and you stick your hands to other countries and you do even far worse stuff than you do here. I don't respect billionaires. We're stupid to sit under their thumb. The same people that believe in Kanye saying that slaves let themselves be slaves are sitting here letting themselves be slaves. Same concept, dummy. But yeah, you have to stop letting these guys lie to your face. It's not funny. It's not cute. I don't know what you guys get out of it, but you got to stop letting these guys lie in your face. Oh, man. Because now they're caught. Now, some more karma. Of a sport I loved, I absolutely loved when it wasn't called mixed martial arts. I love cage fighting. I love fighting in general. I love all forms of athletics. I do, really. Even curling. But the MMA community is one of my favorite, and I've been there since the beginning. I am goated. Like if anybody would like to sit down and have the conversation with me, you will learn quickly that I am very educated upon the subject of mixed martial arts and the history of it. But everybody can agree, and I've been watching a lot of streamers and influencers in the MMA world, and everyone knows that the UFC is pretty much top tier, not talent wise, but just top tier as in promotion and presentation and money making. But everyone knows that it's getting really really poor. And the reason for that is because people are starting to realize that Dana White is not doing this like a real sporting federation. He's doing this like a popularity contest. This is WWE where they really get to fight. Right? Two things about that's different though. WWE can make sure the muscular, good-looking white guy always wins. UFC, that never happens. And then you have the babies in the crowd. They're like, wait, my guy didn't win. It was cheating. It was unfair. It was, and they will complain all the fucking year until they get their fucking fighter back in there to get another win. So that's the first difference between that and wrestling. And then secondly, it's just that you need both people to play the role. And like there's a lot of guys in the UFC that play ball, but there's a lot of guys who don't, who are not trying to play that role. Like Cyril Gane is not. He's not. Even I'll give you Tom Aspinall for a long time was not trying to play that role until he got his shot at maybe getting a fight against John Jones, and then he started that carrying the duck around shit. That, yo, y'all think that shit is funny? Like y'all were such losers for that. Y'all were such losers for that. And then you make a wild case of how he's better than John Jones, a man who has done everything and walked through every fire, to say that he was better. MMA has become a popularity contest. And now that what's funny is that your most popular, the one that all the white guys like, is Conor McGregor. But you forget that Conor McGregor is not American and has no allegiance to America, and he is fucking Dana in the a-hole right now so that he does not have to fight in the UFC again, because if he fights in the UFC again, he is going to get the dog shit beat out of him, and he wants to get a lot of money for that. So he's screwing Dana right now. But John never did to Dana. John could have done this to Dana as well. Francis screwed Dana, but he screwed him legally. But Conor is going to be the downfall of the UFC. And the best part about it is Dana has already given up. Dana is already planning to start a boxing federation with the Sheik over in Qatar. No, Abu Dhabi. So he has already sold you out. The UFC is just something that is now just a way to cause political chaos. The fighters are mad political now. They act like wrestlers. They go over the top, and no one puts on good performances anymore, because what's a good performance anymore, really? They all they fight to hear the fans not boo. And these guys are not great fighters. They're all like amped up. They're all hyped up. Yo, I saw a list the other day that said John Jones was the most coddled fighter by Dana White, and didn't have Bo Nickel on that list. Are you kidding me? Everybody talks about how John's the most crooked guy because he doped and all this. No one talks about T.J. Dillashaw anymore. No one talks about how Vitor Belfort, someone who John beat, was on steroids. And if you look at him standing next to John, you could tell John wasn't on steroids. See, this is the same thing with Barry Bonds. You swear, there's no evidence, but you swear that Barry Bonds is dirty just because he looked bigger. And then if you look at him next to Mark McGwire, who, yes, did use HGH and those drugs, Mark McGwire looked like a superhero. Barry Bonds looked like somebody's dad. He had a gut. HGA, you can't have a gut. Your body is working at like teenager levels, burning fat, creating muscle. Your eyes even get better for a time. You get faster twitch. Yeah, he did have a fast twitch, but he always had a fast twitch. He was always a supreme hitter. He was always a better hitter than Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. But you just can't have a black guy win, and that's the problem with MMA. MMA is all designed to have like the Great White Hope. It is designed for that. And that's why Chuck Liddell is like y'all legend of all legends. But when y'all saw him get brought to earth so simply by a man who with no real skill, who just fights, and Rampage Jackson. Rampage didn't just beat him in the UFC. Y'all don't remember, he beat him in Pride, and he beat him to the dust in Pride. That was that was supposed to be Chuck Liddell's get back. The MMA community is so hypocritical. They don't even know what a good fight is. They want to see a white guy knocking a brown guy out, and then that's a great fight. That's it. Why do you think they love Sean O'Malley for that fight he got against Aljamain, and he didn't even knock Aljamain out? Why do you think they forced Aljamain to take that fight injured? Because they want. Why do you think Aljamain got booed so loudly when it was closer to his home than it was closer to Sean O'Malley's home? But they were in racist-ass Boston. This is all designed to create the culture that we have right now. The voting class for Donald Trump, the incel males. Who do you think bro, all these guys go to these UFC matches, then go home and they wrestle with each other, right? Like, these guys are all homoerotic and they can't get girls, and they get to the point where they're like Nick Fuentes, where it's like, oh man, having a girl is gay. Yeah, that makes sense. These people are so flipped up and slapped up and mixed down. They have no idea. They have been run amok by the people who they follow, and now they just lash out at everybody. Now the MMA community is failing because you have pushed the talent away. You pushed the talent away. You pushed Francis Ngannou to the PFL. You pushed John out of the business in general. You pushed Everybody remembers Ryan Bader left as well and went and got success elsewhere. Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson. If one was smart enough and had the money, they could destroy the UFC. Period. PFL. It really is a good setup. It's just not getting it. They don't have the money and the talent behind it. But it's because people, once again, they want wrestling. They want WWE. And if you looked, who did UFC merge with? They're already talking about Michael Chandler becoming a wrestler afterwards. They're already talking about Kobe Covington becoming a wrestler. Just because this is just a mill to give mediocre white guys work and big pay for not being the top. None of those guys I mentioned to you are the top, but they've got big money. They've gotten title shots. The MMA is like just a basic, like it's an incel soap opera factory. It is manufacture people to be angry at. You know what I mean? They celebrate skinheads like Sean Strickland. And finally, when they bought who was it, Kyle Rittenhouse or somebody to the gym, Chris Curtis finally got a spine and stood up to Sean Strickland. And fuck you, Randy Couture, for having that guy in your gym too. I didn't forget. MMA is falling apart. And then y'all let your pros get beat up by Jake Paul. Seeing what happened with Jake Paul and those fighters, UFC fighters have a short shelf life. They get paid so little and they have a short shelf life. I am going to enjoy watching Chuck Liddell go into madness. He already has a wife abuse problem, and you try to cover it up because you want to make John the face of spousal abuse. But Chuck Liddell has been locked up multiple times for spousal abuse, and he is getting worse. That's why they don't have him on camera anymore. And Dana loves this guy. Dana will protect this guy forever. You didn't put him on your list of people who were pampered by Dana because they kept John away from Chuck. They kept Rashad away from Chuck until they couldn't anymore. And we saw what happened, right? So they have a short shelf life. They're going to fall hard. And these guys have been wrestling and doing all this stuff forever. They're already got brain damage. You are ruining these people. So MMA, your karma is beautiful. It's coming around. And Dana, yours is really coming. And when yours comes, it's going to be great. Let's not forget Dana White slapped his wife in public too. But you love MMA and you just hate John Jones. All right. So we're going to end it off with the tie-in, with the tie-in for the maggots, because you can't just. I've sat here and talked for an hour, and I know they're not getting what I'm saying. So this is what it is, and this is also a message for white America too, because I want to make this clear. But the maggots, you have embarrassed yourself to the world. You've been embarrassing yourselves to the minorities in this country. We already knew what kind of clown shoes you were. You told us you weren't, but we knew you were. You told us you weren't just to come to the cookout, and then as soon as you got to the cookout, and people started making fun of your food, you went full right wing crazy. So we know what you are now. We know who you are now. You put yourself out there completely. You cannot go back in the closet. You will never be allowed to go back in the closet. I will pull you right out of that closet, right? So for white Americans, you have to see now. This is what people see you as. This is what people fear you to be, is the maggots. White supremacists, ultra-religious, but don't even understand your religion. You can't carry yourself in a conversation and an argument defending your own beliefs. That's what people see you as. I know that's not the case. I know too many exceptions to that rule for me to even say there are exceptions and to say that it's an equal amount. From what I saw from this election, is an equal amount of completely discombobulated, screwed up white people, unfixable, and there is another half of ones that are unaffected by any of that nonsense. But you need to realize now that you will be affected by that nonsense if you ever decide to stand up and speak up. This is Nicole Good. This is Alex Peretti. The guys who died in the hands of Kyle Rittenhouse. And then you will be smeared as a terrorist or a pedophile or a whatever they decide to say you are after you're dead. And they control the books and the whitewashing of history. You have to understand that there's no time left to sit on the fence. The fence is on fire. Don't be a part of this karma. See, what I know is that the rest of the world is really gearing up to do real harm to America. And I'm not talking about physical. Everybody's so worried about the military. I'm not worried about that. If I blow up, I'm dead. I don't have to worry about being blown up. It just happens. But the problem here is that they're setting up to do financial harm. They're setting to basically block us out from the global market. And if you're not seeing this, you're thick in your brain. They're doing it right in front of our faces. They're making deals amongst themselves without us. They're having summits and not inviting the United States. And they're doing it publicly so we know. They are ramping up their military budgets and not buying from America. And Americans say, oh, well, we have the best weapons. Okay, yeah, whatever. How do you know that? See, maybe they're smart enough to not tell everybody what they've got. Like this idiot president we have who tells everybody about every single weapon we have. First of all, I knew about the wave weapons they have, the sonar. Knew about that. Been worried about that for a while, but you people are too stupid to realize that they're going to use that against the public soon. All you people, oh, I got guns. Once they hit those sound waves, you can't even function to pull a trigger. Not even to shoot yourself, you moron. These people have created ways to do some of the most sadistic harm to people. And they're not, it's not, under the Geneva Convention, it's not allowed. But they don't care about that anymore. Those sound waves can mess you up and your family. They did that to women, children, without a concern. And then I was watching a video the other day where they were talking about, oh, yeah, man, I don't like how Trump's talking about Ukraine, like it's trying to extort those people. I don't like how he's trying to take Greenland. I don't like how he's trying to take Canada. They didn't say nothing about the shit he's doing to brown people. Y'all only care about the white nations. And those nations don't even care about you. Let me tell you how they laugh at Americans. You may think that they want to come to America, but they laugh at Americans because Americans are so stupid. They want to come to America because they know they can take advantage of us, and they do. Because you people are so stupid. All they got to do is have white skin or say they don't like niggas, and you will just play right under the arm. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Was all the karma worth it? Was it? Because I don't think that you really, I don't know. I don't think you really get it. Stay here for an hour and I still don't think you're going to get it. Everything has gone wrong. Everything that you were bloodthirsty about on January 6th about not happening, all those things have happened. And if he takes your guns, I'm going to die laughing. I'm going to die laughing. And they're going to do it because they don't trust you. They don't like the poor. You think it's just brown people. They don't like the poor. The poor is a constant threat at trying to take what they have or stopping them from getting what they want. And they want everything, including your children, apparently, in every conceivable way you could imagine. The proof's there. Tyrone and Manuel and Cletus, they're not buying children to have sex with. That's something rich people are doing. Now, they may be helping get those kids to sell to those rich people, but the problem here is the demand. And the people with the demand are rich people. They've literally caught people and they do nothing. and they're doing nothing in front of your face. Meanwhile, he is spending so much money. Our deficit is climbing, and everybody keeps talking about, oh, inflation went down. Yeah, inflation went down, but prices went up. How does that work? Because you're paying the taxes now that you never wanted to pay that you thought Democrats were going to charge you. Tariffs are taxes, so they really just taxed you like the Democrats said they would. And except these people aren't using these taxes to fully fix life for you or give it back to you. He said he's going to give it back to you. Who got that in their taxes, in their tax return? Anybody? How's that overtime? How's that overtime and no tax on tips? I need you to understand, I don't hate anybody. And if you say, oh, yeah, yes, you do. I used to say you hate all the time. I hate racists. Racists aren't people. They are as alien can be. I want to be a community of love. I want people to come and talk so we can figure out how to fix this shit instead of just talking about what's wrong. We're not going to do that as long as we have to get to this point of this karma coming around in all these cases that I talked about today, because this is just the scratching of the surface. This is only 1 year of him being in, y'all. This is only 1 year of him being in. And we're going to have to reshape the Project 2025 that they have molded in order to be an equitable situation for everybody. And I'm going to tell you right now, Christians, you better stop following these people, because this goes to the view of you too. American Christians are viewed as the biggest hypocrites around the world, period. And I have to agree. The Jews don't have any morals. They're allowed to do whatever they want and still get the glory of their afterlife. So you who claim to be contingent on heaven and hell, y'all act like y'all are hellbound. I don't understand it. But that's just my piece. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Anybody who watches later on, please comment. Make sure you like, follow, and share. We're going to have a new episode coming out this week as well, and we're going to keep more consistent on the content. Remember that this is about creating a community, a town hall to talk about this shit. I'm just your moderator. You don't have to agree with me. But if you don't agree with me, tell me why I'm wrong. Let the people know why you're wrong. We could have it out. But I'm gonna bet on myself. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm Apollo the G, the Philly Special. This is the Daily Cope, and let's stop leaning to the left, stop leaning to the right, and try to move forward. That's the only way we're gonna get something accomplished. I'll holler at you later. Wait, that's right. Fuck the Patriots. Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Fuck the Patriots. Nothing else on that. That's just it. That's a pretty simple statement. Holla at your boy.